So the soul must be made immutable by her wedding to the Christ self, the higher self. This is the goal of your life. What will you take with you? Look at yourself now. You will not take your body. You will not take your possessions. What will you have that is eternal? It is the threefold flame in your heart, the divine spark. The Hindus call it the Atman. That is the part of you that gives you the option for immortality. The soul must merge with the Atman. The soul must merge with the threefold flame. And she cannot do so if she is in a state of anger against God. That's the only way I have to sum up in one word what we suppress at unconscious and subconscious levels of being. Anger at one another, anger at God. So you see, if religion doesn't give you a path of your soul's reunion with that sacred fire in this life, it is missing the heart of the matter, the whole heart of the matter. You can engage in rituals for a lifetime, but your heart may never have been opened to your Lord. So the inner teachings of this mystical path are what we must live and demonstrate so that the world can be freed from religion that has died. So Justinius says that he bows to the light in each of us, whether it's a flicker or a conflagration. For I am the instrument of God, and the light I command, the light I serve. I serve the light, it is my commission, my identity, and my office. Well, now I would like to tell you about my encounter with the Seraphim of God. This was an amazing experience for me. I was in Boston, studying at Boston University, and I also attended the Christian Science Mother Church, which I had become a part of from the age of 9. And I was in my apartment that was nearby, just a couple of blocks away. And it was late evening, about 8 or 9 o'clock. And I was tending to a loved one who was ill, and I was praying for that one. And somehow I had the impulse to go out and take a walk and go to the Mother Church. I desired healing so much for this person that I said to God, I said in my heart, I know that if I will just put my hands on the walls, the exterior walls of this wonderful church, that I will be able to transfer that healing light to this one. So I joyously kind of skipped along, going to the church. It wasn't a service night, so there wasn't really anyone around. And I approached the first large doors, and I put my hands on the wall of the church. And as soon as I did this, I looked, and I saw these huge, fiery angels, one on each side of the door, guarding the doors of the church. And it was such an experience that something in me wanted to say, this isn't real, this isn't true, if this is not happening. And yet I saw it, so I said to myself, well, I'll try the next set of doors. Now, this is a very large church. It occupies a very large block. It seats about 5,000 people. So I ran around to the next set of doors. I put my hands on the walls, and there they were. There were the Seraphim. They might have winked at me, I'm not sure. So I went around and I went to all the doors of the church. There were Seraphim at every door. Now this is an amazing thing because although Mary Baker Eddy taught about angels as being real beings, that particular quote is ignored. And the standard interpretation of what is an angel is the following. Angels are God's thoughts passing to man. Angels are just ideas, in other words. So here is a group of people who in their metaphysics does not really believe in tangible, real beings who are angels, and the angels are guarding their church. I could never convince them that angels were real. This was a tremendous moment in my life. And I was filled with light, and I went back to my apartment and I put my hands on the one who was sick, and he was well. And I thought in my heart, is there any end? Is there any end to the glorious opportunities of serving God and knowing His angels? I would like to tell you how the angels teach us to be successful and how they work with us for success. Success means we've done something well, we've achieved, we've accomplished, we've done a good job. And because we have, our work, our service, something we manufacture or create, sells. So success usually means in our society that we have a good income, we're doing well, we're happy, and we're leading a good life. I think success starts with getting yourself adjusted back to the blueprint of the will of God for you in the beginning. I think success is becoming who you really are. And I think you can have all the success in the world that you want. There's nothing wrong. Jesus promised us the abundant life. But I think there are certain nuts and bolts that are the foundation of lasting success and lasting fulfillment. How many times have you seen successful people who at 65 or 85 are still empty and so tied up with the materialistic success of their lives that they haven't even considered that you can be successful spiritually or you can be a failure spiritually, and that's just about what it amounts to, and that's what counts in life. I think you have to be willing to listen to the voice of God within and to cultivate that voice. And if you tell me that you hear the voice of God inside of you and you disregard it or you argue with it, I will let you know, and I will say, woe to you when you hear the voice of God speaking to you and you do not do what God tells you and you do not respond. Many people do not hear the voice of God because they have long, long ago silenced that voice. They don't want to hear what it has to say, because then they might have to do something they don't want to do. It's kind of scary to think that you can hear God talking to you. That's what we call our conscience. It's your higher self. There are steps to be taken in life, and we don't know what those steps are. We have karma. Karma descends. Usually it means we have to care for others. We have to give of ourselves in a sacrificial service. You may not want to do that. It might be a bother. It might interfere with your plans, your fun, your good times, your new car, and all of that. But you know what I found in life? If I ever skipped one direction from God, I would miss a whole chain. Because one direction and my response to it and my fulfillment of it leads to the next and the next. So a lifetime is a pyramid, and you are building the foundation each time you take the right step because you have listened to God and followed His will. So I think success really begins at whether or not you are going to live your life in God, through God, for God, and for His people, or you're going to live your life for yourself. You're going to take religion, what it can do for you, what everything can do for you, what everybody can do for you. Pretty soon you get the whole world somehow taking care of you. I think real, lasting success that goes beyond this life, beyond the few short decades we have in this body, is a success whereby you increase the rings on your tree of life by quality living, quality experience with others and in God. I think then when you are right with God, which means you really do have to work on your psychology, you need to work with a therapist if necessary, you need to heal the separated parts of yourself. with God's help and the help of Seraphim. When you have that wholeness, everything that you touch will be successful. And when you don't have that wholeness, your very fragmented self compromises the alchemy. And it is alchemy, and Saint Germain teaches you that in his books on alchemy. You can't bring into manifestation precisely what you want unless you have a plan. You can do it as a treasure map. You can do it as a list of things that you are saying are going to happen in your life. And you write in this list what you are willing to do to make them happen. Work hard, produce a product, educate yourself, get yourself in a position where you can produce what you want in life that is material, but always dedicate it to God. Offer him 1/10 of the spoils, as Abraham did to Melchizedek. Always tithe. If you don't know of a church you want to tithe to, then tithe to the best charity you know about, to some good cause that you know will help people. So it's very important to remember that 1/10 of what you have belongs to God, and it's the yeast. It multiplies again the rest. When you give him 1/10, he gives back to you 100% each time. He takes your 1/10, uses it as the leaven, and gives you back 100%. It's unfailing. I've talked to people for years. When you tithe, you multiply your abundance. You have to set goals. You have to list them. You have to meditate on those goals. What are they? What do you want to accomplish from this day forward for the rest of your life? Pick a reasonable age to which you think you will live, and then say, what can I realistically accomplish? Cross out about 9/10 of all kinds of things that you think you might do or will do, and concentrate on a definite purpose so that you know you will leave this world a better place. You will set an example. You will have an achievement that contributes to the forward march of civilization.